Hey everyone, this is Jen. You're watching BPD Woman. On this channel, you will learn how to more effectively live and manage your borderline personality disorder. My goal in creating these videos is to share my personal experience living with the disorder, as well as imparting DBT skills and tips that I have learned along my recovery over the last 20 years. My goal is to help you better understand your emotions, live more effectively, understand the processes of emotional dysregulation, and to guide you and help you achieve what you want in life effectively, whether that's love, relationships. You get the idea. I'm not a therapist or a psychologist, but I can answer one question that most of those folks cannot, which is, what is it like to have borderline personality disorder? I was diagnosed over 2 decades ago, and since that time, I have spent blood, sweat, tears, tens of thousands of dollars, commitment, and time to my recovery. That means multiple rounds of DBT, one-on-one therapy, group sessions. That means constant dedication and reading on my DBT and my workbooks and my books. You get the idea. I'm pretty committed. So, if that sounds good to you, please hit subscribe and the bell below so you never miss a beat. I produce anywhere from 3 to 5 videos each week, and they are generally of a problem and solution based type of format, giving you ideas on how to solve issues as they come up that I have found very problematic and common in my BPD recovery. And so let's get going. Today I'm going to do a bit of a emotional vlog. I did one of those yesterday, and also I'm going to do a bit of a advice giving and how to know you've achieved a certain goal. That goal being what it's like to make a wise-minded decision, how you know you've made a wise-minded decision, and I'm going to guide you to trust yourself, stop second-guessing, learn to validate yourself, and sit peacefully with the decision that you've made, even though that's really hard. So learning to trust yourself when you have BPD is difficult. Why? We second-guess ourselves. We have low self-esteem. We seek outer validation. We ask this person, who all have different viewpoints, right? And then they kind of bombard us emotionally when we have those viewpoints going on in our head, because we often seek answers from others because we think they are more of an expert on life's matters than we are. And the truth of the matter is, while they can give advice, the advice that you really, truly will feel more comfortable sitting with is the advice that comes from within. But that can take a long time, right? Learning to trust yourself, especially when you are making decisions when you're dysregulated. Those are not times to trust yourself, because when emotion is high, logic is low. I say that all the time. When emotion is high, logic is low. So when you're feeling extremely dysregulated, when you are feeling really upset, when you are just too flooded to be able to do anything except access distress tolerance skills, you are not at your best point to make cognitive decisions. If anything, that's the time to hit pause, turn off the phone, don't say anything else, take a walk around the block. You just don't want to get yourself into any trouble or problematic behaviors that come out of those dysregulated situations. So I myself know exactly what that's like. And it's taken 20 years of incremental progress along the way for me to feel more settled about my decisions and to feel more comfortable with who I am. And there's actually two things that I can offer to you that I have used to help me feel better about making a decision in my life and sitting with it. And the first thing is to only act when I'm regulated. So not to lash out when I'm upset, not to send that email or text when I'm really pissed off, not to make an important life decision when I'm hungry, angry, lonely, tired, stressed, or sick. Halts. We talked about that yesterday. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired, stressed, or sick. Halts. It's not the best time for me to make a decision. The second tip that I can tell you is that I can feel, so I feel good about a decision that I've made, and then I can stick with it. One, when I've done it from a regulated point of mind and state, and two, when I have thought long and hard about the decision and that I have acted within my ethics, my morals, that I feel good that I am not stepping on anyone's boundaries without and not compromising my own, that I'm not selling myself short, that essentially I am living within my life standards of living, right? What does that mean? My morals, my ethics, how I want to treat people, how I want to come across, anything that I ever put out there in a text or an email or on my website or in these videos, I know that I must sit comfortably with how would I feel if this was reprinted and shared on the internet, which it usually is, right? Especially if you have social media, which I do not. But, I have a business, right? So I need to be careful that with a Google business page and a website, so people could go on Yelp or they could write, nasty stuff if they wanted to. They don't. Everything I have on my stuff is positive. But in the event that they feel like they want to vent, I have to make sure that everything I've done up until that point speaks respectfully to who I am and looks professional so that I can back that up, right? In the back of my head, I'm always like, how would this look? How would this look? How would this look, right? So if a client walks away feeling pissed off, or if they feel, if I have a personal relationship along with a professional relationship and the personal part falls apart, right? Or if I enforce a policy and they don't like that because people are boundary pushers, check out the video I did on people being boundary pushers. I'll put up a link. Actually, I write that down. That you can feel okay that somebody might say something negative with a calm response. You've seen somebody have 100 5-star positive Google reviews and then like 1 or 2 negative ones, right? And then the power is in how the business owner replies to that 1 or 2 negative remarks. Now, most obviously no one's going to have 100% of the same kind of interaction or experience. However, if you see 100 really great reviews and 2 negative ones, are you still gonna frequent that business? Usually, right? Black and white thinking, black and white thinking or colored thinking. So I feel fine with all of my interactions almost 100% of the time these days, that if it ended up that I could go and defend myself and look perfectly sensible. Look, people are going to be pissed off with you. People are going to throw tantrums. People are not going to want to be your friends. They're not going to work with you. They're going to hold a grudge. Oh, well, I can say that now. Yes. 5 years ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, that would really hurt me. I don't want anyone to be mad at me. I can't stand that. I don't want to feel that way. There's a lot of similarities between codependency and borderline personality disorder, where both have people-pleasing behaviors. Both are worried about how they're going to look to others. In both categories, people present low self-esteem. Does that sound like BPD? Well, it's also the major criterion for codependency. I digress. Today I want to talk about how I made a hard decision that I have been considering for a long time, that I feel good about, that I feel satisfied about. And we're going to talk about why I feel good about it, and we're going to talk about how I came to that conclusion. Now, a few of you who have seen my other videos know that I have done a few videos on flip-flopping decisions, right? There's a video I put out called the flip-flop game, which is a video that helps to explain why when we have BPD, we make a decision, we feel good about it, and then we go back on it, and kind of like that shame and resentment cycle that you can get wrapped in if you keep flip-flopping back and forward. I also produced a video called Dysregulated Relationships. Is it me or is it them? And that was speaking to when we are feeling dysregulated, does that in part have something to do with the people that we surround ourselves with? And I suggest that it does. So today, I had a epiphany. I've had a few little epiphanies, and then today I had an epiphany. So in many of my videos, I have talked about a client that lives down the hall from me. I'm in the pet sitting business, for those of you who are tuning in for the first time. and I walk dogs, I house sit, and obviously my business has taken a huge hit like many other people around this country and around the world who have small businesses or they work in retail or restaurants. Perhaps it's you, and you have seen a significant deficit in your income because of the pandemic. You know, I went from having 10 reoccurring clients before this all started, down to 2, then up to 3, then up to 4. You know, we're not out of the woods yet, right? So, and I talked about my vlog yesterday that finance has been a really stressful thing for me. And so I have talked about this client who's also been a friend, and how not long ago, after much flip-flopping, there's been many dust-ups between us. And those dust-ups have not honestly been too instigated by my bad behavior. We were getting along just fine recently, and I was really upset that day. We had a text conversation about how that I was feeling low and worried about money. She said, "Do you need anything?" So I called her. Moments later, you know, after this offer of hers to talk to her, and as I was crying, she just hung up the phone. And it wasn't because it dropped the call or, you know, she was pissed off. Like, she literally said nothing. Yeah. So I think that gives you an idea of who I'm talking, you know, who we're dealing with here. Not a person who deals with her own mental health issues, but who does not seek treatment. And that's fine if you don't want to seek treatment, and it's fine if you do seek treatment. However, there are just no excuses for your bad behavior. If you're going to be abusive to someone, well, I don't have to stick around for that, and I'm not going to. So she's been a client for 2 years. Maybe about a year ago, we actually started becoming friends. We spent last Christmas together, and then, you know, we've had movie nights at each other's houses. She recently moved into my building, actually down the hall, so she's a very close neighbor. But so we keep having these dust-ups, and one thing, first of all, she's not suffered through the pandemic, financially speaking. She's kept her job. She has an office job. She has a good job. She makes like $90,000 a year. She's doing just fine. You know, she's in a 1-bedroom apartment, and she did not take a pay cut like many of us. And these are her affirmations. She did not take a pay cut, right? So there's nothing different about her financial situation. And over this last 6 months, you know, and maybe over the year, I constantly have heard jabs about my prices, which aren't unheard of for my area, number one. And second of all, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I offer excellent service. I carry my own business insurance. My website is kicking. My customers are happy. You know, I'm not just tooting my own horn. You know, if it wasn't for privacy, I would share with you my Google business page, and you could see that, you know, I have all 5-star reviews, like people, and before that I was on a different platform, and I have about 90 5-star reviews. People are very happy with my work. So she would make comments, you know, like, there's an upcharge for the holidays. Yes, I charge you $4 extra when I have to work on Christmas. Seems absurd. I know, right? Sarcasm. You know, this has been, you know, problematic for a while. You know, oh gosh, well, I might have to cut back. Well, I might have to do this. I'm so tired of people who aren't really suffering through the financial crisis of this pandemic talking to me about their financial hardships. I went from making $5,000 a month to $2,000 a month. I had to get a second part-time job. Okay, I had to borrow from my savings last month, my modest savings, to pay for my rent. I'm not thriving right now. I'm scrapping by, which is a situation that I know many of us can relate to. And so I have gone over and beyond for her animals, and one of her animals is extremely sick right now. We're talking probably in the last few weeks of life. And, you know, about a week ago when I was going over my budget, I started to think, okay, well, I have to prepare that I'm going to lose this income because this dog is simply not going to live much longer. But I have, again, gone over and beyond. For instance, her dog was extremely dehydrated, and I have sub-Q fluid for animals. It's basically rehydration kit. It's a needle. It's you know, I know how to do it. It's part of what I offer my clients. I gave that to her. I didn't charge her for the materials. I carried her dog all the way down the hall and all the way down to the elevator so the dog could go to the bathroom because the dog's been too weak to walk. I freaking care about animals, okay? So as you can get a sense of, I'm pretty committed to animals. I care about animals, and I get a little tired of hearing people who make the decision to get an animal. And in this case, she deliberately got two senior dogs, one who passed away last year, knowing full well that they would have medical problems, as older dogs and older people do, right? You have more medical costs. That's part of the pet owning game. So if you don't have the money to order takeout, and if you don't have the money to have HBO, and if you don't have the money to buy a dog, then guess what? You don't get to order out, watch HBO, or get dog walking. It's just how it works. Okay. So I go over there today, and it's been, I'm on the East Coast, so we had a huge snowstorm and freezing rain all day, but I still showed up on time, took the dog out. And as I came back, now keep in mind, I've been perfectly cordial with this person. I even gave the dog a small gift because I gave all of my clients a small dog gift and a thank you card, because no one's going to be treated differently when they're a client of mine. Everyone gets the same courtesy. They get the same professionalism. They get the same gifts. There's no favoritism. I do not let my personal feelings work into the service that I give. I just don't do it. So today, as I'm drying the dog off, she starts again to talk to me about money. Now keep in mind, I'm looking over as I'm drying the dog off. She has a Christmas tree with all these wrapped gifts around it that she's giving to people. She's on her laptop. She's watching TV. She gets to work from home. She's in a perfectly fine financial situation. Now she was spending $90 a week for me to take care of her dog, okay? And then recently with the dog's ailments, I was like, listen, I cannot get the dog outside fast enough because she's moving so slow. I highly recommend you up this to 30-minute visits. So we're talking about a $5 upcharge, okay? We're literally talking $30 extra a week, okay? Well, suddenly today, so she didn't really want to do that, she kind of fought me on that. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm not trying to make an extra buck. I'm telling you that I don't want to be rushing the dog or pulling the dog along because we're on a time clock. Like, just spend the extra $5 fucking dollars. You know what I'm saying? I would. Okay, I would. Or I wouldn't hire somebody. Okay. So as I'm drying off today, she starts talking to me again about money. So this is probably the 6th time that she's talked about money. Well, I think I'm going to have to reduce my services on Wednesday. But, since we're already doing the extra walk time, it really won't make a difference to you. She's like, I've got some pretty big bills coming up and I've got some medical expenses. And I'm like, wow, really? That extra $20 a week is really going to make that difference? Meanwhile, she's given people GoFundMe money, which I've never asked for, ever. I'm looking at all these wrapped gifts. She still has the money to go to the movies. I haven't been able to go to the movies since, 2019. And a sense of demoralization and emotion came over to me. And so I said to her in that moment, you are not suffering like we are suffering. And I said, I know that my financial situation is none of your business and that it's none of your concern, but I had to pay my rent through my savings last week, right? You've done just fine. I was like, and now here we are again, you haggling with me about money. And I'm just like, and she knows this, and I just can't get it. And the thing is that she's too mentally unstable that she doesn't know how to tap into other people's empathy. She doesn't care. She's told me that plenty of times. Oh, I don't care if I make somebody feel bad. She said that. She clearly doesn't care because she hung up on me the day that I was crying when we had no tension between us. So today, this is a day that normally I would walk her dog twice, and I have been doing this for years now, a couple of years now. So I walked the dog, and I went back, and I thought, and I was in tears, and I'm like, I felt like I had a financial gun to my head. Like, oh, I have to keep this client around. I need the money. And then I started thinking, and then the tears kind of started to stop, and I calmed down, and I felt this sense of calm come over me. And I was like, no, I don't. There is no amount of money worth it to me to be leaving a client's house in tears, to be leaving a friend's house in tears. And listen, the times that I have actually cried recently, like over the last 4 or 5 months, and I used to be a pretty heavy crier, so I've really reined that in. 90% of those crying spells have been brought on by an interaction with her. She has been completely dysregulating, not to mention completely disrespectful, borderline abusive to me. And now she doesn't see the value in what I do, and she wants to haggle with me about money. So I was like, you know what? I'll just pick up more shifts on my second job. I do not care. I am not going to feel like I have to entertain her mood swings, her abuse, her haggling, her demoralizing behavior. And I was like, I am done. I sat down from my work email that I've created for my business, and I wrote her an email. And the subject was, with immediate effect, termination of client services. And I just outlined to her very professionally. I said, there is nothing that the dog has done. There's nothing that your cat has done. I was like, but all of these professional and personal reasons, including all of your haggling. And I said, as well, I said, it's been completely demoralizing. You're talking to me that you don't have enough money, and I'm looking at a Christmas tree with all these presents, and you're telling me you can't afford to pay me $20 extra a week. And it's not even for my benefit, is it? It's for her dog. It's her dog needs it. Okay, sure. Well, guess what? You're going to have a lot more money coming your way because I'm not walking your dog anymore. We are done. So in this email, since we have had a personal relationship, I also outlined, that it has become untenable for me to be in her apartment anymore. It has been dysregulating for me to have to endure her mood disturbances. It has been dysregulating to me to hear that she's getting ready to punch somebody in the face. That's something that she actually said. I'm not a punching bag. And just because I have a business, in fact, the reason I have this business is so that I didn't have to be people's punching bag. That's why I left the corporate world. In the corporate world, you can't be like, hey, fuck you, I'm out of here. Well, in this environment, I can be like, you're done as a client. I'm not gonna take this from you anymore. Now, how did I know? And I also took a screenshot of her previous Google review, which was glowing, and she wrote it back in September. It was just long and just completely happy. She's always been happy with my work. I mean, I could show you text after text after text. Oh, this is wonderful. Thank you. Oh, okay. So I sent this, right? Now, there's nothing hateful about it. I stuck to my wise mind's acts, right? Like how I wanted to act in the moment. I didn't do anything unethical. I didn't say anything that I wouldn't be comfortable with ending up on a Yelp site or my Google review or whatever, okay? So, by the way, so I screenshotted this Google review. I just had this feeling like she's going to do something petty and she's going to delete her, Google review that I rightfully well deserved. Okay. But now she's going to be pissed. So, I'm thinking, she'll delete it because she's a baby. Now, how do I know that I made a wise-minded decision? Well, first of all, after I made the decision, I felt relief. I felt calm. I felt, right? And this is not something that I did on the spur of the moment. A little bit it was spur of the moment. However, I have been kicking around not being in this person's life professionally for a while. And I made the decision to not be in her life personally a while ago. And today, this was just like the end game for me. So I knew that I had done a lot of thought on it. Now, I feel settled about it. Now, is this the right time financially for me to make this decision? No. However, again, What's more important to me is my mental health. I can clearly find a way to make $120 a week elsewhere. It's just not worth it to me. Again, this is why I left the corporate world. I was making close to 6 figures when I left the corporate world. The backstabbing and the fake shit and the like not being real with each other, I am out of there. That's why I left. So I'm certainly not going to open up my own small business and then endure that. I'm just not doing that. If that means I have 2 ideal clients, then that's what it'll mean until I can build up my repertoire of more ideal clients. So I sent this email, right? And then I blocked her. I said, if you need anything, you can email me through the company's website or the email. So she emailed me back almost, pretty immediately after I sent this email. And she said, okay, email received, confirmed. And I sent back the rest of her money. And then I checked my Google reviews, and sure enough, she deleted my Google review. And so I emailed her back. I was like, one last note, I saw that you deleted my Google review. I figured you would do something petty like that. I was like, not to worry. I screenshot your review. Because again, I'm thinking ahead, right? Like if she tries to say something libelous or she wants to be a keyboard commando on the internet, then I'm going to throw up. I'm like, well, really, until we had this falling out, you felt this way and you used me for 2 years. So, okay. I said, and because I'm a small business and I'm insured, I said, I'll be also monitoring social media. So be very careful about what you say because I take libel very seriously, which I do. And I'll pursue legal action if needed. Now, the chances of her actually doing something libelous are pretty low, but I put that out there so that people know, and it's rare that I ever have to say this, when things end badly, that I put that out there so they know that I'm not fucking around. I have a business and a reputation to protect. So, almost immediately after I sent that, I had a notification from my second job pop up that said, hey, we're offering a $10,000 grant application, across the country. We are going to give 20 applicants a $10,000 grant. Here's the criteria. 1 door opens, 1 door closes, 1 door closes, 1 door opens, right? I'm like, that's what I'll do. I'll start applying for grants, that I actually need for my business and to stay afloat. I'm going to read the Wise Minded description here off of my DBT app. Wise mind is the synthesis of our 2 states of minds, reason mind and emotion mind. It considers the facts of the situation, person, event, and how you feel about those things. It helps you achieve a balance of both the rational reasons for a decision and how you feel. It is also called intuition. You can tell you're making a wise-minded decision when you feel settled, underlined settled, about the decision. It's not always easy, and it wasn't for me today, to come to a wise mind choice, and you're not always going to be happy about it. It definitely caused me some distress, but you will know that it's the right one for you at that particular point. For some people, trying to tap into that part of your body where wise mind lives, such as the diaphragm or the stomach area, when making a wise-minded choice, can help you see other states of mind. It's hard to trust yourself. It's hard to feel like you've done the right decision when so many times you know that you have made an error in your decision making. But I feel settled. I feel calm. Now, do I think I did the right decision? Yes, absolutely. Am I worried about money or, her being libelous or trying to, or have a, negative interaction with her? Again, she lives down the hall. I also mentioned some of these things in my final email. I said some other notes, my dog knows her. I said, my dog will probably be excited to see you. I was like, please just ignore her and I will redirect her. Do not expect cordial behavior or pleasantries from me. I'm going to treat her like a stranger from here on out. But I'm in my safe space because I acted within my ethics. I gave her plenty of chances. I've considered the situation for a long time, and I used both my intuition and wise mind along with my feelings about the situation in that gray area, in that wise-minded area, to make a decision today. And that's what's going to empower me. And not everyone's going to like you in life, and you're not going to like everyone either. And that has nothing to do with borderline personality disorder, my friends. 0. That is for everyone. You know, there are plenty of articles about, how business transactions end friendships. Well, this was one of them. My name's Jen. You've been watching BPD Woman. We've been talking about the way to know that you have made a wise-minded decision, learning to trust yourself and to stop second-guessing yourself and to validate yourself. And when she deleted the Google review today, she absolutely validated me. Why? Because she showed me the type of person that I knew her to be. So if anything, once she deleted it, that actually made me feel more empowered about my decision, that I had done the right thing. Because she didn't delete it because I'm a shitty dog walker. She didn't delete it because I'm not a caring person. She did it because she was in the wrong. And if she was in the wrong, she couldn't have something positive about me that she wrote being up there anymore, could she? That would make her look compromised. The key to making sure that you have made a wise-minded decision is to consider how you feel about it and how you think about it. Feel, think. Gray area, wise mind. Wise mind and the gray area is the same darn thing. Taking your time with a decision, not making it when you're in a dysregulated state, right? It's not sending a text like, fuck you, I'm ending the relationship. No, it's going to the computer, sitting down, writing a thoughtful email, reading it out loud to yourself, and taking some time. Share your thoughts with me below on how you've made wise-minded decisions. If it's difficult for you to make decisions, if it makes you feel dysregulated, I'd love to hear your thoughts and some of the things that you do to help choose behaviors and make decisions that you feel good about. Wise-minded decisions build mastery, and mastery builds self-esteem, and self-esteem builds more effective behaviors, and it instills the desire to keep up with those practices and behaviors, leading to your BPD recovery, leading to more effective and fulfilling life in all of the ways that you want to see it come to fruition. Again, my name's Jen. You've been watching BPD Woman. Consider subscribing, leave your comments below, and until I speak with you next time, please be effective. Bye-bye.